I hated my 20s so hard, so much. I can't believe that now at 31, I'm saying, you know what I miss? My 20s. And yet here we are. I hated my 20s, okay? Hated those motherfuckers. They sucked ass so hard. Like, I just could not believe how bad my 20s were. It felt like I'd get hit by a truck and then I'd like be getting up, just like brushing myself off, getting up, and then I'd be hit by another truck. My mom died when I was 21, just like straight out set that decade on fire right off the bat. My beloved dog Fred died. My grandfather died, like just profound personal losses on top of I was dropped by my agency once I had told them that I was quitting acting, which really just showed how much they believed in me as the writer I was trying to become. I spent half my 20s drunk off my ass, puking 10 times a day in friendships that had expired. It was just shit on shit on shit. All while I'm hearing that it's supposed to be my best years. All while I'm hearing, oh God, those are the fun ones. Those are your best years. God, what I would give to be in my 20s. The things that people say. Nobody was out here going like, hey, your 20s suck ass, so brace yourself. Nobody was going, hey, you're going to be so lost and confused, only to be more lost and confused 6 months from now and wonder when it gets better and then surprised it doesn't. Until 26. Then I think that was for me when I started kind of like finding a groove. 25, I started finding a groove. And then progressively the years started getting better. But like, especially that first half of the decade was fucking awful. And then every year after 25, even though things were on an incline, I couldn't quite see that they were on an incline because it felt like a ticking time bomb. I felt like I got to get this shit figured out before 30. Like 30 was the red flag finish line for me of like, I had to have my whole life sorted before then, or I thought I was a loser. So now that I find myself going, I miss them. I'm also wondering, like, is it really my 20s why did I say really so weird? Is it really? It sounded so fucking weird. Is it really the 20s that I miss, my 20s? Or is it something, can I get more specific than that? Is it a quality that I felt like I had in my 20s? Is it a certain experience that I had in my 20s? Was it a feeling? Like, what is the thing specifically that I miss? Because I, knowing the full context of my 20s, know that I'm not missing that, or at least I don't think that I'm missing that. And a part of me was like, is it uncertainty that I miss? Not that there's any certainty in life ever. It's sort of the deal, but there was so much uncertainty, so much influx in my 20s where it just felt like I had no idea where anything was going to land. And at the time, it made me incredibly, fundamentally anxious. But it's also like, did I kind of thrive off of it? Did it kind of fuel me at the same time? Did the thing that made me anxious also have some kind of addictive quality? Like I was addicted to the uncertainty? Another thing that I've considered it might be that I'm missing is chaos. I was so self-destructive. And I'm not that way anymore. And it was by no means fun. I was miserable. Throwing up 10 times a day, drinking myself to blackout state. Like it was all escape and it was miserable. And I was doing it routinely. Like I was taking my vitamins, but it was self-destruction. But maybe, just maybe, I feel like Dr. Seuss whenever I say maybe, just maybe. Isn't that like how they open up the Grinch? Maybe, just maybe. Anyway, it's like, was there a part of that chaos that that was kind of just exhilarating, that made me feel alive. I was like killing myself. So I know that that's not true. I know it's not true. And this is what's difficult, is that I know it was self-destruction. I know that chaos wasn't good for me. I know that I was miserable. And yet I'm viewing it now with a kind of romanticized, like, melancholy, a wistful longing. Don't get me wrong. I do not long to make myself throw up again. I do not long to be blackout drunk, but I long for a certain quality that was there. And so I realized, okay, it's not the self-destruction. I don't think it's the chaos. It's certainly not the anxiety. What is it? And I think it's this sense of like a reckless abandon, throwing caution to the wind, a carefreeness, which actually stemmed from caring too much. So then I'd be addicted to things to try to escape the caring too much. So now at 31, I'm wondering, is there a way to experience that reckless abandon again without abandoning myself? Is there a way to feel some element of that charge, that aliveness, without the destruction? Is there an element of having that invigorating peace without the chaos? Can I have the good and not the bad? Like, I remember in my 20s, there's one time I was like drunk, and then I took some Molly. See, I don't know how people talk about drugs. I don't know. And I had gone to like a carnival thing. I blew somebody. I left their house. I fucked somebody else. Like, yikes, right? It was horrifying. I couldn't decide whether to say horrific or horrifying, so I settled on some weird version of both. It was like awful. It was awful. And yet I'm like, God, but she was wild, that girl. Oof. So I'm like looking back on it. And now it would be fucking crazy. If me at 31 went and did the shit that I was doing like 21, 22, it'd be outlandish. It'd be scary. So the 31-year-old version of it is is I'm going, should I travel? Maybe I'll travel the world. Like, maybe I'll go to Norway. It's sad. It's sad, but not, because what would really be sad, I say sad lovingly and jokingly, because of how boring life should be at 31, I feel. You very well might completely disagree, but that's how I view it. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I will book that plane ticket to Norway. Maybe I will travel to some places. But that's not reckless abandon, you know? It's just not. And also the things that actually might constitute reckless abandon are like skydiving or rock climbing. And those sound awful to me. Or like shark cage, you know, those things where you can like dive into the ocean in a cage and sharks can come at you. Like that in no way, shape, or form sounds fun to me. Or like the kind of reckless abandon, like it doesn't feel like it's falling under the same category, wouldn't hit that same spot. And now I'm kind of wondering, like, what would be my 20-something-year-old self's advice to me now? And yet, even as I say this out loud, as I ask myself, you know, what advice would my younger self give to me now to kind of access that reckless abandon I'm seeking? There's no response. Like, there's no fucking answer, because the truth is I'm so far removed from that version of myself. She's gone. She's like nowhere to be found. It's a little scary. It's a little sad. It's a little muddy. So strange. I was just so desperate to get out of those years. Now here I am trying to tap into or trying to understand one aspect of them. And it's just an aspect, to be doubly, triply clear. Just that one aspect of reckless abandon, nothing else. I've been thinking, too, what advice I would have given my 20-something-year-old self as an exercise of just as an exercise in not over-romanticizing those years, being realistic about them, and just kind of viewing them with clarity. And I think the advice I would give my 20-something-year-old self is to, well, absolutely, it'd be kick that fucking bulimia as soon as you can. Kick the alcohol issues as soon as you can. And honestly, I'd probably say don't enter into relationships too quickly. Have as much sex as you want with as many people as you want. Honestly, get it, girl, I would tell myself to not be so fucking stressed out all the time, to not be so anxious, everything's going to be fine. I just put so much pressure on myself. And just, always. And I wish I could have lightened that load, lightened that burden off of myself. I would have told myself to spend more time with my grandpa. I miss him a lot. And wish I'd seen him more in his last couple years. There were also months where I had financial anxiety so bad that I would eat ramen every night for dinner for a month, because I'd go, okay, if it's a 33-cent ramen packet, then I'm only spending $10 a month on my dinners, crazy level of budgeting and financial anxiety. I'd tell myself, look, eat ramen when you want it, because I know you like it, but you don't need to. You don't need to eat it every night. And I'd also tell her to ditch those fucking hair extensions. I got hair extensions that were so bad. You could completely see where my hair ended and the extensions began. I did not have the patience to style those things, so it looked so tacky, and I just would absolutely wish I had never done them. That's all for now. Bye. If you want more hard feelings, you're in luck. You've got options. On Apple Podcasts, there's bonus content for subscribers with Lemonada Premium. You can hear me answer exclusive questions from listeners. On Spotify, you can talk to each other by leaving comments on each episode. And on Amazon Music, you can listen ad-free with a subscription to Amazon Prime. I'm Jennette McCurdy, the creator, executive producer, and host of Hard Feelings. It's produced by Lemonada Media in coordination with Happy Rage Productions. Our production team is Keegan Zema, Aria Bracci, and Brian Castillo. Music is by Hannes Brown. Steve Nelson is Lemonada's Vice President of Weekly Content. Rachel Neal is Lemonada's Senior Director of New Content. Executive producers are Stephanie Whittles-Wax, Jessica Cordova-Kramer, and me.